I'm really enjoying the seminar. I've been challenged greatly and also encouraged that some of the things that I was realising in my work, that I wasn't crazy or rama as we say in Central Australia in Pitjantjatjara language. I'm not a crazy one and that it's very encouraging to see really good work being done in the top end, and very encouraging that we can do similar things in Central Australia. We just need the people power and we need to learn the languages, which is the next step for me. I really agree with the naming stuff that we talked about, the power of names, and I'm very challenged about even those of us who are educated and know that the naming isn't true, that still our cultural naming systems do innately affect us, and that it's really essential to humble yourself and actually look at yourself and study yourself and study your interactions with people, and just become aware of the fact that we do still operate in our cultural norms and naming does affect us, and that we need to become more aware so we can change our habits.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding it very provocative, and I know it's meant to be. And for me, it's an absolute crucial experience because this is my first time working with Indigenous people in the Territory. I'm actually working in Alice Springs with the Aranda people and others, and this is my first chance to have some cultural training that really challenges my ways and customs as a Westerner, to understand a little bit about the great divide that has happened, particularly in our communications processes and our understandings of each other's ways, traditions, and so on. So that's so important for me to have this experience, and I'm finding it very stimulating and very provocative. We've been very fortunate to have Indigenous people speaking and helping us understand their communications and their processes and their songs and their rhythms and their symbols. That's great, and also just mixing with everybody here and learning from Richard's long experience. I think critical moments are when a light bulb goes on in your head, when you first realise that's the reason why there's a divide or why there's a misunderstanding. For example, shocking incidents related to us. We all know about the health gap and the life expectancy gap and the terrible number of early deaths. And we're starting to understand that some of these are caused by misunderstandings about disease and science and services available, and that has happened through miscommunication. And sometimes it's a specific word that has been misunderstood, and sometimes it's the communication process. And for example, I learned yesterday for the first time about the huge impact of prefixes and suffixes on words, and that some tribes or clans will only hear prefix or will only hear a suffix at the beginning or end of a word. So we learnt about, legal, lawful, illegal, unlawful, sorry, and they won't necessarily hear and follow the prefix and the suffix because it's not in their language patterns. And I've realised that that has led to great trouble, to imprisonment, and sometimes to deaths, because a group hasn't understood an English word with its prefix or suffix, depending which tribe. And that is mind-blowing to realise for the first time that two letters can lead to deaths of people. So there you go. There's a moment of enlightenment for me.
I've had a little bit to do sort of out through some of the central desert areas in training, and my reason for coming along to the seminar was to get a little bit more cultural awareness, and for my own training abilities, and to be able to unpass, and I've gained a heck of a lot out of it through awareness. I suppose you've got to be aware of something before you can make a difference, and it's been very good for me for that reason. I'm a country music artist that's travelled fairly extensively around the country, and Indigenous radio stations have been very good to what I've done myself, and this has encouraged me to learn more about their culture and what I have to offer back. So I suppose in a nutshell that's my way of giving something back, and I'm really glad that Richard sort of opened our eyes to a lot of history, a lot of past history. Lots has made sense. There's lots of practical reasons for all sorts of communication breakdowns, I suppose, through Indigenous and white intervention, I suppose, and I suppose through the years I've been lucky enough not to have been exposed to as much of that, because I grew up through central Australian areas, Broken Hill, Tibooburra areas, with the stock camps and that sort of thing. So, but it's been a terrific seminar.
This seminar has really broadened my knowledge in different cultural issues and the importance of information exchange, and it's been a really good networking opportunity. I've met lots of people working in different organisations and with different groups of Indigenous people, and so that's been really insightful, and yeah, it's been very good. The specific examples that Richard is able to give through his work in Arnhem Land has really brought light to a lot of stuff that I've read, or stuff that I've learnt. Those specific examples just make it real life, I guess, and with the Indigenous people here as well, their insights are really useful as well.